Welcome to The Hustle with Ben Anderson, highlighting a series of inspirational success stories with celebrities, entrepreneurs, athletes, and industry-leading professionals. Ben has learned and mastered the art of the hustle, which has allowed him to become a top 20 USA loan originator and the #1 mortgage and real estate finance coach in America, who has closed more than $3 billion in real estate finance transactions. So sit back, listen, and learn with the Loan King about money and mortgage.
Welcome to The Hustle from Manhattan with myself, your host, Ben Anderson, with a serial entrepreneur, Thomas Milana. Thank you for being here, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Driving in from Long Island.
Made
record time today, like you said.
Record time today.
We're going to unpack some amazing stuff, your history, your story, 4 exits, so you understand what that really means to own, start, and build the right kind of business. So people on this podcast that want to be entrepreneurs, you're going to get a front row seat. A man that's done it for a long time and a great history, and starting Man Cave, beyond belief, what a great concept. So let's dive into what your main venture is now. Talk about Man Cave.
So a little over 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. Knew nothing about cancer, especially prostate cancer. 3 weeks later, I had successful surgery and was cured, and about a year later, I was asked to sit on a board of a charity that raised men's health awareness, and it just made me think about the lack of people out there, raising awareness on behalf of men. So a buddy and I came up with this idea called Man Cave Health, and basically what it is it's literally a man cave inserted into doctor's office, a hospital, waiting room. It's a glorified waiting room. And our first one opened up January 6th at the Department of Urology at Mount Sinai. It's about 1,500 square feet. It's got 12, leather chairs. It has a huge television on the wall. It has a coffee bar.
That's great.
And it's all about providing men a better environment. And hopefully that will get more men to go to the doctor. The experience stinks overall. And we feel if we can make it a more pleasurable experience, more men would go and get tested.
That's so quality.
Yeah, something needs to be done. 30,000 men died from prostate cancer last year, mostly because they didn't know they had it. When you have symptoms from prostate cancer, it's too late. And it's a simple blood test that saved my life. And that's Man Cave's mission. It's getting more men to go to the doctor.
And we're so stubborn, and we're so anti go get checked out and hero bravery. We just don't do the things we need to do to take care of our health.
No, it's my business partner runs in Ironman every year, does 1 or 2 of them, and when he found out what happened to me, he hadn't been to the doctor in 7 years, and this is a guy that's all about health. And 2 days later, he went to the Mayo Clinic for 2 days and got everything checked out. But that's kind of what it takes for men to go to the doctor: either a bad experience with a friend, or they're literally on their deathbed and something's really wrong and they need to go. And most of the times, that's too late.
And so tell me about your experience through because you have a beautiful family, you have 5 daughters, which there's a big bill there, I'm sure, every month, and 3 are at Madison, Wisconsin, one's at Syracuse graduating, one's 14. So you're living for other people every single day, and I'm sure your daughters are your everything. So what was it like when you went through your blood test and found out that you had prostate cancer?
So that's a really good question. So ironically, I didn't go public probably till about 1.5 years after my surgery. My mother-in-law had just died 3 months prior from lung cancer. And the last thing my kids needed to know was that their dad had any type of cancer, whether it was curable or not. So once I had the surgery and I was fine, there was no reason to tell anybody. My inner circle of friends knew that I had surgery. My daughters thought I had hernia surgery. But once we decided to create Man Cave, we had to go public, especially with my kids. So when they were all home from college last January, because they're never around anymore, they're all over the place, we sat down and we had a family meeting, and I told them. And ironically, we've had a couple of friends that had prostate cancer, and they knew they were fine, so it kind of took the edge off. They really didn't have any questions, but we kept it quiet for 1.5 years, and that's just what we, chose to do due to this situation, we had 3 months prior.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a tough topic to bring up either right away or at any point, because it's just health and life they have one dad, They can't replace that person.
And they hear the word cancer, and it's never you never hear that word cancer in a positive tone, right?
No.
It's initially it's all negative, and but thank God, you know.
So what were some of the things that you leaned on or pulled through because you didn't tell your daughters initially? Obviously, to start and sell for businesses, you have obviously some steel guts there. So what were some of the things that you hung on to kind of deal with it and do the right thing?
So listen, when the doctor tells you have cancer, the first thing is you think you're going to die, and then you go to the internet, and there's nothing good on the internet about cancer. Part of what we're doing at Man Cave is that we have a hotline where men can call and get a live person on the phone. I was very fortunate 48 hours after my diagnosis to get on the phone with Dr. Jonathan Simons from the Prostate Cancer Foundation, because I have friends and that have influence. And this guy spent 2 hours on the phone with me on a Sunday afternoon and basically walked me off a cliff. And that kind of like took the edge off, at least till I had my surgery. And to me, the hotline is going to be the key. We've spoken, somebody asked me 2 weeks ago, what's the biggest accomplishment you've had so far? And we've actually had 4 calls into the hotline. We haven't even started advertising it yet. And just to get someone on the phone to talk to somebody that went through the same experience with you, it went a long way. Before Man Cave started, I probably talked to 7 or 8 people on behalf of friends, total strangers that, my friend calls me up, Tom, could you talk to this guy? He was just diagnosed. And to me, besides the physical locations, this hotline, I think, is going to be one of the key elements of Man Cave Health and what we're trying to do.
Save lives, just the hotline alone.
Yeah, well, it saves lives, or just like you said, how do you get people get through certain things? If I knew today, if I knew then what I know today about prostate cancer, it wouldn't have freaked me out. For the first 3 weeks waiting for surgery, if it wasn't for Xanax, I probably wouldn't have slept at all, right? I never took a pill in my life. But once I had surgery and the doctor told me, my margins were clean and it hadn't spread, then it's just about, moving on and just, one day at a time. And
what's it like when you got the clean bill of health? Was it, I don't know, I've been through tough stuff, and when you get through it, you're like, wow, did that really happen?
I'd equate it to, selling a business and that wire hitting the bank account, right? It was like, oh my God, thank God everything's fine. And it was great news naturally to hear the doctor said, all right, you're good, nothing had spread. They tell you that ahead of time with prostate cancer. If you get it early, it's very curable, and that's why it's a sin that 30,000 men die, because it's so curable. If you're a man and you're going to get cancer, that's the cancer you want to get. But if you don't know you have it, it's going to kill you.
Well, you're a survivor, so very blessed to have you here with us today, and very blessed to have you create this business which will serve so many people. So what's been the response from the community of men that you've talked to? Has there been any stories of, hey, Man Cave has saved my life, or is it just been the community coming together and supporting it?
Yeah, so I think it's too early to say we've saved any lives, but the positive momentum we've gotten since January 6th, I've been blown away. I've been telling people I wish my businesses had this much positive momentum 6-7 months after I started them. People are calling us. When you start a business, you're usually calling on people to do business with you. Right. Once we went live on January 6th and we had some really good press, I've had 15 institutions from around the country reach out to me wanting to put a Man Cave in their facility. So it's been unbelievable. We're in the first inning right now. First one's open. There's 2 more hopefully coming in New York before the end of the year. We have one coming in your backyard hopefully before the end of the year.
Can't wait.
So that's kind of where we're at right now. We're in hopefully a hyper growth stage if you would compare it to a business, and but building them is easy. Getting men to show up is going to be the hard part.
So how do you tackle the awareness? Because the attention is everything. You have to have attention on what you're selling.
Yeah, so I was on the phone with local sports radio prior to me coming here today, and I committed a bunch of money to September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, and we are going to have a huge campaign for the whole month of September.
That's great.
letting men know, getting the message out, get screened. We have rented out a Methodist church in East Harlem. We were hoping to give out 500 free PSA tests that day to men that don't have insurance. We're going to have HIV testing there, blood pressure. We're turning it into a men's health fair. This little event is, taking on a mind of its own, and it's going to be pretty cool on September 28th. So,
does this business feel different than other businesses? Because, this is like your fifth business. You have 5 daughters. It's like, is the first like the fifth? Is the third like the fourth? Is it feel the same way? Because it maybe it came because of different circumstances.
It's different in the fact that it's not going to be measured by financial success, right?
Interesting.
But I'm treating it like a business. I had a little dispute with one of the organizations I deal with, and I felt I was overpaying for something, and even though it's for charity, and I basically told them, listen, I'm treating you now as if you're one of my vendors, and I don't like what I'm paying, and so we renegotiated. So I'm truly treating this like a business. I made it very clear to Mount Sinai that I'm not a guy that's going to write a check because I want to see my name on the wall, right? I am going to be involved in everything that we do at this man cave, to a fault sometimes. So they've never had a donor like me get
That's
this
wonderful.
involved, but it's been a little rocky here and there, but that's business, right? And I'm truly treating this as a business.
So teach us, because on this show you'll have real estate agents, entrepreneurs, the athletes listening to the advice you're giving. You're someone that is worth listening to because your story is worth telling. What's the key to getting a good business up and running, and what are some of the things you've learned from just your history and your ventures?
Listen, not every business that you start is successful. I've had plenty of failures in my life, but the key is you have to have a good family and you have to have support behind you, right? My wife gave me the ability to work 70 or 80 hours a week. When you're starting a business, everyone thinks it's easy. It's far from easy. But you just got to have passion for what you do, and you just got to believe in it. And whether you're doing it to make money or you're doing it to save lives, it's the same thing.
It's the passion.
It's the passion. Some guys just are happy showing up for work and getting a paycheck. That's not what I'm all about.
So tell us some of your core tenets, the things you believe in make you who you are. Is it your passion? Is it your focus? Is it your ability to deliver on time? I mean, what are the things that make you successful at running your businesses?
I believe in always doing the right thing. If you do the right thing, people, I think, will appreciate that, whether it's in life or in business. And I just think people, especially my clients over the years, and I've had some big clients, they know that I was always about doing the right thing. And if you do the right thing, I believe in karma. I think good things will happen to you, but there's still hard work involved. You just can't do the right thing, but your word and it's everything in life. And I feel that if you do the right thing and you make good decisions, that's what I try to tell my kids. Just make good decisions, because one bad decision could ruin your life.
That's right.
Whether it's in business or it's you do something stupid in college, it's one bad decision could really screw up everything.
So do you have anybody that maybe comes to you for advice? You counsel younger business people. Do you give back to any local young startups? With all the wealth of knowledge you have, how do people get that from you?
So prior to me starting Man Cave, I've had my own family foundation for about 10 years, and two things that we supported was giving to charities of children in need, and one was to pay for private education for underprivileged kids. And I went to LaSalle Military Academy before it closed down, and they opened up a school in Freeport, Long Island called the De La Salle School. And they took these kids out of the inner city and they gave them education from 1st grade to 8th grade.
That's awesome.
But they never thought about what happens from 9th to 12 in high school.
Right.
So they took all these kids, out of these bad neighborhoods, put them in a good Catholic school, and then they had no place for them after, 8th grade. So I probably sponsored 10 to 12 kids to go to Catholic high school after that.
Awesome.
Ironically, one of the kids, I paid for part of his college and works for me now, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, so I never say no to a meeting, and if someone asks me to speak to somebody, it's about doing the right thing.
I love that.
Yeah.
What a great message. So beyond your man cave project, what else are you passionate about right now that is going on? I mean, your kids obviously take up a lot of your time. I'm sure you're traveling to Milan. I think you said a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm all about my family. Fortunately, my kids still like to hang out with me and my wife, so I'm going to take advantage of that for as long as I can. When I tell my friends we're going away for a family in 2 weeks, they're like, "Your kids really want to go to Italy with you for 2 weeks?"
That's special.
And they wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
That's special.
My kids. So and this trip, I'm actually taking my wife's 2 aunts with us. So it's going to be me and 8 women traveling around Italy for 2 weeks.
So give me some advice, because I've got 3 kids and I'm busy working a lot of hours, and my wife lets me work a lot too, but I'm a lot newer in my game. I haven't sold 4 companies yet. So give me some advice now on how to have that balance of life and family more.
It's hard sometimes, but you need to make the time. The biggest benefit of selling my first business 10 years ago was that I got to spend more time with my 5th child than I did with the other 4 combined. And you can't get those years back. And I always made time for my kids, but when you're building a business, you need to put the time in. So selling was the best thing that ever happened. The money's great, but having the time now to spend more time. I haven't worked much the last 10 years. I basically play golf and raise money for a living the last 10 years, so I work when I want to work, but having that time with the kids is, you need to make time, and they won't forget it. I told my wife, we closed on our business in December 2009 when the world was falling apart, and everyone's like, there's no way you're going to sell your business. So I told my wife, if we close on this business, my daughter's birthday is January 7th. I'm going to pull her out of school. She was in 1st or 2nd grade, and I'm going to take her to the American Girl store on 5th Avenue, and I'm not going to say no to her. Okay? So we close on the business, so pull her out of school. My friend's son-in-law was the CEO of Mattel, and we got a personal shopper at the American Girl store, and we walk into this room, and she hands my daughter the catalog, and they go through every page in the catalog, and my daughter circles everything that she wanted. We leave, we have lunch, they sing her happy birthday, we come back, all the bags are waiting. I don't even want to tell you how much I spent that day, but I didn't say no to her. And she remembers that day like it was yesterday. And every time we drive down 5th Avenue as a family, she always points out, she goes, "Dad, there's the American Girl store." And my other girls say, "Well, what'd you do for me when you sold your business?" She got to go to the American Girl store. So it was actually, but that was, it's the time with the family. You can't give any time back.
That's special.
People you only live once, and my motto is you only die once. My wife told me this. You only die once. You live life every day. So no matter how hard you're working, you need to find time to live your life.
That's great. Well, tell me, when you're having, is golf sounds like golf's your vice. What is the day like for you when, your kids are all gone and it's you just reminiscing on the things you've been through, things you've done, and things you're going to do? What is it like for you? What do you do?
I kind of feel like I'm doing that now. I'm in a very fortunate position where I work when I want to work, and lately I've been working a lot, but golf is my vice. I've been very fortunate enough I bought into another business when I sold mine, and I've been in the fundraising business for the past 9 years, and men like to play golf. So I've for the past 9 years I've played a lot of golf with some really great people, developed relationships, and those relationships have branched out into to other things. So golf is my vice. I mentioned to you before, we have a home in the Bahamas. We plan on spending 3-4 months a year in the Bahamas. If you like the water, and you like to work out, and you like to play golf, and you like that healthy lifestyle, which my wife and I do, that's kind of what our vision is. And after going to Newport last week, we'll probably look to spend a couple of months there too.
That's right.
It's a beautiful part of the country that I've never seen before.
I can't wait, because I'm there to get to meet you more and host you on my turf the next time we get together. Your story is inspiring, what you're doing is incredible, and people should get behind your mission. So how can people get behind your mission, whether it's if they want to give, if they want to be around it, or if they just need to go get checked out?
Yeah, so our website is mancavehealth.org. We have just instituted a monthly newsletter that talks about men's health tips and things you need to do. We're coming out with an app real soon where we're going to start getting people to download the app and actually send them some push notifications and friendly reminders to go to the doctor. But everything is at mancavehealth.org. We just got our 501(c)(3)
Congratulations.
last month. It was a brutal process, but that's finally complete. So now we're in the full fundraising mode. The more money we have, the faster we can spread this message.
Let's get this word out. Men need to get checked out. You only die once, but you live every single day.
Yeah.
As your wife puts it. So live the best day you can by
so
taking care of yourself.
So what I think there's 8,700 hours and change in a year, and my message is take 1 hour out of your year and go get a physical.
That's powerful.
It's 1 hour. Just
I'm
do it.
going back home and I'm getting myself checked out. That's for dang sure. So thanks for coming. You've been a great host, great advice. I've got great takeaways for myself, but also take care of yourself.
Thanks for having me.
You have the hustle, my friend.
To follow our story, check us out at benanderson.365 on Instagram and stay tuned for our next honored guest.